This is quiz number 3 for chapter 14. If you're watching this on YouTube later, remember, attempt the quiz on your own for the best results with my book before coming back and watching the explanations. So what we're going to do is start with number 1 here. So it says, a new bakery in town offers 3 types of bread, white, whole grain, and rye, and 4 types of filling, chicken, tuna, beef, and vegetable. How many different sandwiches, each with 1 filling, can a customer order? So you can just think about this as there's 3 different types of bread. Each of them has 4 options with it. So it would be 3 times 4 to get your total number of options of how many different sandwiches you can order. And we know 3 times 4 is 12. So it would be D. So now let's go to number 2. Given that A and B are real numbers and this is equal to 0 and that's equal to 0, which of the following statements must be true? So right away, they love testing this like on both exams at like some point. They like to include this in some way, maybe not exactly how this question is phrasing it, but to test your knowledge that you know that there's no 0 that can go in a denominator, like you can't have a 0 on the bottom of the fraction. B can never be 0. So automatically we know that it can't be number 2, like you can't use number 2, and that we can use number 3 just from that part right there. So you can cross out number 2 right here and the ones that don't include number 3. So now we just have to choose between H and K. So let's look at, we're checking basically if number 1 can work. So A equaling 0. So if B can't equal 0, then A has to equal 0, because in order for you to multiply and get 0, one of those values has to be 0. So if B can never be 0, that means A had to be 0 in this situation right here. So that's true as well, so it would be K. So let's go to number 3. This is also one that I've seen like show up more recently, and it's not like commonly taught, I think, in schools, at least from like the students I've been like learning or have been learning with me. They're not used to seeing 2 different variables in the parentheses. So it's basically the same thing you're used to with functions, except it's just giving you an x comma y. It's still the same rule of you just plug these in for x and y. So your x is 4, so plug in 4 everywhere you see x, and your y is 2, so plug in a 2, or sorry, negative 2, so plug in a negative 2 everywhere you see y. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to say x is 4 minus, and then negative 2 is our y, and minus a minus turns to plus. I hate when that happens. Okay, so then this is going to be 6 squared, which is 36e. Thank you guys for sharing the live. What math is this for? This is for ACT math, but it can apply to so many things, like a bunch of different types of exams, like the military ones and stuff. Like a bunch of the same concepts are on here, but this is for ACT specifically. And then, so let's go to number 4. And what about calculus? Calculus is not on it. So let's go to number 4. It says, assume the manufacturing cost for a phone case is defined by this function right here, and X is the number of phone cases manufactured in thousands. How many phone cases should be manufactured in order to minimize the cost per phone case? So you're being asked basically for the X min. So you can graph this in your calculator because you have a graphing calculator for the exam, but a lot of people don't know how to do that. And also it would take longer, in my opinion, than just using the formula for X min or X max. So to find the X min or X max, you would use the formula negative B over 2A. And remember, what B and A are depend on this equation right here. B is the number that's being multiplied by X, and A is the number being multiplied by X squared. So we have negative of negative 10 over 2 times 4. So then that's going to be positive 10 over 8. Now, remember, they said in thousands. So X is in thousands. So we have 10/8, which we can simplify to 10/8. If we divide the top and the bottom by 2, it would be 5/4. And it's in thousands, so we have to multiply by 1,000 because we have that many thousands. So this would be 1.25, and then times 1.25 times 1,000, yeah, that is 1.25, right? Yeah, 1.25 times 1,000 would be G, 1,250. And this is for multiple grade levels for people asking. The SAT and ACT exams, this is for ACT specifically, but a lot of the concepts cross over. They test you on everything up to calculus, basically. And do you ever do the reading portion of the ACT or SAT? No, because I'm still writing that book. Like, these are my books, so it's a copyright thing, where I'm trying to, like, write the book so I can do it on live. So not yet. Number 5, Rachel's recipe for fruit salad is 7 parts apple, 4 parts banana, and 2 parts cherry. How many pounds of bananas are needed to prepare 169 pounds of fruit salad? So this is just ratios. So we have 7 parts that are apple. So we could say 7x, and then 4 parts that are banana, and then we could say 2 parts that are cherry. And we can even label it A, B, and C for apples, bananas, cherries. And then the whole thing is going to be 169 pounds, the whole fruit salad. So if we add all this up, 7x plus 4x plus 2x, it has to give us 169 pounds. So if we add all these up, combine all these like terms, we get 11x plus 2x, which is 13x, and that has to equal 169. So 13 times 13 gives you 169, so we know x is equal to 13. But remember, they asked us how many pounds of bananas, so we have to find out 4x. So it'd be 4 times 13, which would give us, that's going to be 52, D. Okay, so let's go to number 6. So for number 6, it says, for the figure shown below, the angles are labeled in degrees. What is the measure of angle DEC? So DEC is going to be this one right over here. So we're finding that angle. Now remember, all the angles in a triangle add up to 180. We know that this angle is 87 degrees, and we know that this angle is 60 because vertical angle rule, these would be equal to each other. And then we could say that this angle, plus 60 plus 87, has to add up to 180 degrees in a triangle. So 87 plus 60 plus, we'll call this angle X, is equal to 180. Well, this is going to be 147 plus x is equal to 180. So then we're going to subtract 147 on each side to get x by itself. So that's going to cancel out there. And then we get x is equal to 33 degrees. So it would be G. Number 7, which of the following is could be correct? Hold on, sorry, I'm getting a lot of questions that I don't mean to be ignoring you guys, but I'm just trying to like do the questions at the same time, so I'm going to answer a couple. Do both sides have to equal 180? Do both sides, what do you mean, both sides? Oh, of the equation? Yeah, because, well, this is an equation that's basically saying all the angles here, which happen to be 87, 60 plus x, have to add up to 180. So, yeah. And then, do all schools require ACT or SAT in order to graduate? No, not all schools. Every school is different, but a lot of schools do make that part of the graduation requirements. And it could be like also used like in lieu of the other testing, like fast testing in Florida. If you do poorly on that, you can use the SAT score and stuff like that to graduate still. So let's keep going. So number 7, which of the following could be the correct graph for the equation? Which of the following could be the correct graph of the equation? I gotta fix that. So we have a negative slope and a negative y-intercept. So remember, negative slope is the one that goes like this from left to right, it decreases. So it could be this one, it can't be that one because that's increasing from left to right. And it can't be this one because it's increasing from left to right. So these have negative slopes and we need a negative y-intercept because -3 is our y-intercept. This has a positive y-intercept, so it can't be that one. This one has a negative y-intercept, so it's C. Okay, so let's keep on going. So number 8 says, which of the following is a rational number that is halfway between 3/10 and 1/4 on the real number line? So we have 3/10 and 1/4, and we're just going halfway. So we would do 3/10 plus 1/4, and then divide that by 2 to go halfway. So then we're going to make this have a common denominator. So if we multiply by 2 here, we would get 20 on bottom. And if we multiply by 5 here, we get 20 on bottom. So this would be 6 over 20 plus 5 over 20, all divided by 2. So that's 11 over 20 divided by 2, which is the same thing as multiplying by 1/2. So then this would be 11 over 40. So it would be J. Someone asked, do you believe I can get a 1500 with the Black Book, SAT Prep, and Khan Academy? I'm not a huge fan of the Black Book one. I think there's other materials that are like way better that I would spend your money on. Khan Academy is a great free resource. But I would also look into Kindle Unlimited if like it's a money thing, because you get a free 30-day trial of Kindle Unlimited on Amazon. And after that, it's only like, I think $10 a month or something like that. And you get access to a bunch of free SAT and ACT prep books that are much higher quality on there. So I would do that. So then let's go to number 9. And someone, sorry, I'm going to answer just one more question. What other book should I get? I do agree it's too wordy. So like the main book, if money is an issue, the main book that you should get is the College Board, College Prep one. Because that's going to be like the most realistic one, because it's actual like exams and stuff made by the College Board. So that one, if money is tight, and just do those and correct it. Now, if you want to get like the best of the best books, what I would do is I would get Erica Meltzer's books, the Erica Meltzer books for grammar and reading for either SAT and ACT. And for math, I would get, I mean, I'm biased, but my books are, I made them for a reason, because while I love College Panda, and I love the one, I think his name's Richard Korn, that he does for the ACT, they're missing a lot of stuff that I couldn't get, like I needed my students to start practicing that kind of stuff and practicing periodically. So I would say my book is better because I added those things in. So yeah. Let's keep going. So let's go to number 9. So number 9, in the ocean, the number of plastic particles decreases by 25% annually. Currently, there are 2 million plastic particles. How many years will it take for there to be 843,750 plastic particles? Okay, so we're starting out with, we have 2 million, and it's decreasing, meaning it's going down by 25% annually each year. So if it's going down by 25% each year, that means you're being left with 75% each year. So that's why I'm multiplying by 0.75, because that's 75% as a decimal. Now, every year we're going to be multiplying by 0.75, because every year we're taking 75% of whatever the current value is for our, number of plastic particles. So that's my equation set up, and I know that I'm trying to find the y, the years, that this is going to be equal to 750. So then we're going to divide by 2 million on each side, because we're trying to solve for y. That's going to give us 0.75. Y is equal to, and then that's going to be 0.421875. And then now what I would do is just start plugging in each of the values. So like obviously 1's not going to give you that exact number, so no. But if you plug in 3, 0.75 times 0.75 times 0.75 is going to give you this exact number right here. So it would be B.